Hey guys, thanks for tuning in to Team Radical. Brandon Phipps here in Kentucky. Today we're going to be bringing you guys along on a hunt that I had this year for a big buck I was able to harvest called Marky 10. The story of Marky 10 started 4 years ago when me and my neighbor were trying to work together to produce some quality deer. This buck showed up on one of his trail cameras throughout the year. He had a couple injuries. We weren't sure if they were inflicted by a firearm or some other method, but maybe they were tumors. But he ended up surviving the winter, and we thought he would be a really nice deer. So fast forward to the next year, we were super excited about this buck and the potential that he had. And man, he didn't disappoint us. He blew up into a beautiful 10-pointer, as you'll see in all the trail camera pictures, man, and just was the type of deer we knew that we had to get at least one more year on. He ended up having a little injury on his ear, and this ear is what let us identify this buck every year. So we knew exactly going into the following year that we would be able to tell what buck he would turn into. 2017 velvet season rolls around, and man, I go throw a few trail cameras up right in where we figured out that this buck really liked to spend his summers to put on his velvet, and man, he didn't disappoint. He turned into a super nice 9-pointer. Was a 150 type style deer, and was going to be pretty high on my hit list, but I had a few more that I was going to put in front of him. Rolling into the 2018 velvet season, man, there was no buck on my hit list that I was more excited about than Marky 10. I went right back into the historic places that he showed that he liked to put on his velvet, and man, I came up short for 2.5 months. I could not get a picture of this buck. Even where we're fortunate enough to be able to put out supplemental feeds and bait and stuff, I could not get this deer right back in the same area that he was, but for some reason I was getting the buck that he had ran with the past couple years. So it's kind of odd because I know he was dominant over that deer, but they weren't willing to run together. So I go fill these time feeders up, and bam, the first deer that hits it is Marky 10. And I had no clue what deer he was because the inside of his rack kind of rolled in. And luckily he ended up giving me a series of pictures that let me see his ear was damaged, and I could tell instantly that was Marky 10. And the body size on this deer to be a 6+ year old buck, man, he was going to be a trophy if I could get him this year. I had the buck located, and now I needed to hone in on him to see which bedding area he was using. So Marky 10 is finally getting narrowed down some. I feel like I know enough in the area from the bedding areas to know that he's coming from 1 or 2 bedding areas on this intersection on this ridge. And we're closing in on season. We're dealing with about 10 days here. So every 2 days I go up there with just a little bit of protein feed and put it out. And he doesn't let me down. He shows me that I can come feed him, and he's going to show up before dark 4 times out of every other day leading up to season. Season this year actually comes in September 1st, Labor Day weekend, and I got a wrench thrown into the wheel, so to speak. 2 days prior to season, the buck just up and disappeared, didn't show on my cell phone camera at all. And I got to thinking, maybe he was bedding close enough to this point where there's a grown-up field, and then maybe they bush hogged it. Well, I'd done a quick drive around the area, and I seen that the area had been bush hogged just like that. Well, the buck disappears, and I say, Wes, I'm going to go film you this year, Wes. I'm going to film you until this buck comes back, or until he relocates into the areas that he had historically been previously. So that Sunday rolls around. We'd hunted the day before. We like to never got things dried out. With all the camera gear and stuff, man, it just seems like everything tries to fog up inside of everything. And so it's Sunday morning. Me and my wife go to church. We have a great meal after church, man, and I got happy, and I sat down and fell asleep on the couch. And next thing I know, I'm waking up and it's 4 o'clock. So I holler at Wes, and I'm like, man, just go with me. Let's go hop in my wife's blind and see if we can just see some deer or something. You never know what'll happen. So we drive up this road and park within 150 yards of this shooting house because it was an absolute downpour, and take off running. I mean, whoosh, whoosh, every step. I mean, here we go, and man, over this one little ditch we pop up, and man, right there Marky 10 is. I can still remember the white of his eyes rolling towards me as he turns and wheels and runs even closer to us for some reason. Probably within 10 yards, and runs right by me and Wes and right up this little point into a sanctuary that I'd made. Actually, the same sanctuary that if you guys have watched this channel very long, that I found the Rockstar sheds in. And man, we go ahead and hop in the blind and sit there like fools thinking, man, why weren't we early? So here we are sitting in this blind fighting all the moisture and stuff because, man, it was really humid because it was hot. And we had a couple little bucks come in, a little wide 6-pointer and a little buck I call bobtail that doesn't have a tail for some reason. And they came right up within 10 feet of us. And I didn't know it at the time, but when I checked my radix above us, the buck had actually slipped around and actually popped out onto the camera while we were still there, like I figured he probably would. Tuesday rolls around, I'm able to get out of work about an hour and a half early, and I hit the woods trying to get there and beat Marky 10 up to that spot before any deer can get there, hopefully. I get there, it is so calm that you can hear a pin drop. I grab my stick off the tree. I try not to leave my bottom stick attached to the same tree because it just seems like the deer pick that area out more. I try to hang it somewhere else. I hang that stick, I climb up in my tree, get attached, and I'm sitting down and I'm just praying that somehow he'll be the only deer that comes in because there's 0 wind and I don't know how I'm going to do this. And we've had so much rain. They're giving rain again, and man, I really ain't wanting to fight the rain and the cameras and all that crap. So I'm sitting there and I text Wes back and forth a couple times, and by that time I noticed a doe right in front of me. I'm like, oh God, there she is, like 10 yards. I mean, it was that calm, and I tried to hunker down and not move at all because, man, the tree was so large. I mean, not so large that it hid me real well, and I just tried my dangest not to move. And the doe comes in and she feeds for about 40 minutes, and she starts licking her nose real vigorously, and I'm like, that's odd looking. And about that time she twitches her head real hard, and when she did it, if you've been around deer a lot at all, you should be able to pick up on the little hints and clues that they'll give you that there's another deer there. And when she broke that neck, I just knew that there was another deer there. I look up the hill, and if you really spend a lot of time trying to get intimate with your relationship on these deer, you don't even have to see their whole racks. Like, I could just see the color of the rack when I seen it drop through the trees above me, that I knew it was Marky 10 and it was game on. So Marky 10 starts working his way in, and by the grace of God, when he starts curling in, that doe decided she was going to leave. If I was not going to get busted, this is the only way that this could work out. Except he decided he was going to face me. And for an eternity, it seemed like I was never going to get my hand on my bow. But luckily, I took my time, went up really slow, grabbed the bow, got it lower down to my leg, and it was at that point there that I knew I was starting to get buck fever. And this is exactly why we go hunting. This is what we live for. This is the deer that I wanted, and I got my opportunity. So I get the bow shifted over between my legs, and he looks up the hill a time or two. And I'm like, I think I can get drawn. I got a quarter to me shot, but I think I can get it done. Well, finally, he looks up the hill, and I draw back sitting down. And I'm afraid that there's one little limb that's going to get in the way. And the good Lord blessed me because I just said the heck with it, and I stood straight up. And when I stood up, he didn't even flinch, and I put the arrow and pin right where it needed to be, let it go. The buck wheels and runs, and I'm excited, praising Jesus, because he's the one that owes all the thanks and the glory in this, because I really don't think I got it done if he didn't want me to have it. But the doe runs back in front of me, and I'm turned around excited, making sure cameras are going and stuff like that, and about the time I hear a crashing noise. So I call everybody on my phone, it seemed like, let them know that I got the buck that I was after and was celebrating. And I climbed down, and I'm like, I'm at least going to go get my arrow. And as I was walking up to my arrow, I was actually able to see his belly, and you should be able to see him die on film. Yep. Oh my God, what a beautiful arrow. Oh my God, he's right there. He didn't go 40 yards. Weeks for this buck we're getting ready to walk up on. He didn't go too far. We're gonna walk up here and get my arrow, and we're gonna show you guys what a big Eastern Kentucky bruiser buck looks like. shot and kept it green. Not turning lit up. Beautiful sight. Those dead meat done its job, didn't it, guys? So that is a covered arrow if I've ever seen one. Busted him right through the shoulder. Watched him run up his hill about 75 yards, start crashing. I turned around and I fell apart, guys. Let's go walk up on what could be my biggest Kentucky buck ever. Yeah, look. See the outline of his belly up through there. Oh, I can't wait, guys. I can't wait. He's a brute. Once you look at what a G2, that big kicker coming off of it. There's the exit wound. I plowed him right through the shoulder. I thought there was a little bit of signs of some intestines on this one when he ran. And when I picked up his arrow. What a brute, guys. Yeah! Thank you! Ooh. Won't you look at what a giant. That is a brute. Oh my God. Man, is he a big old buck or what? He just messed up rack this year. That right there's a pretty side now. And this is pretty much a telltale sign for how every year I could tell Marky 10 was Marky 10. He's had that since he was 2.5 years old, Sean. I'm sorry I kept it from you. I knew which buck he was last year. But he didn't get this big by being dumb. Don't you look at what a giant. Look at body. Dude, this is the, what's it, the 10th or 11th of September?
September 11th.
September 11th, 9/11, guys. We got us a big old buck down. And, oh yeah, he's got a good 11-inch 2 over there, 11-inch 2 over here, 8-inch brow or better. Got them little trash points at the back. Kind of like Splinter, ain't it, John?
Oh my God.
He's trashing it. Oh. I got a heck of a group of guys here too, guys. I got Sean Cooper and Wes Stacy and John Dagnan. A couple of neighbors that work together to try to produce bucks like this. And is he big or what, Sean?
No, that's a giant.
God, you guys get your hands on it.
This segment has been brought to you by Lone Wolf Tree Stands, your silent partner.
The very beginning of it? Okay. Like, hey guys, this is Wes. Damn, let me write a book for you. Hey guys, this is Wes with Team Radical. In 2014, we had a year that there was plentiful bucks everywhere. Brandon here behind the camera, he had a ton of bucks on cam as well. I also had a deer named Agent 7. Agent 7 showed up with this deer here that I killed right here in that year. They were running mates, and then season broke in, they lost their velvet. Well, once they lose their velvet here, they just tend to separate. They start their own pecking order. He never did show up again. And I was working out of town, so I ended up getting a weekend off, and I ended up taking this deer here at the 10 to my left. Check my cameras sporadically, ever so often when I come home from work. Agent 7, he was around. He would come in every day, every evening. During the rut, he was all over the place. Had a couple of scrape videos of him. Went on, never did find the sheds though. Late season, never found a single shed from him. In 2015, he just totally disappeared. Never seen hide nor hair of him. Not even a summer trail cam pic of him crossing the creek. Nothing. 2016, same thing. Never had a single picture of him. Don't know what happened. Just thought, he might have got hit on the major highway that is bordering my property. But just never saw anything of him.
On today's Radical 30 segment, just wanted to take a moment and tell you something that I feel like may be very beneficial to you in your hunting season this year. And that's taking the time to get out there during this time of the year and creating your entrance and exits to your stands. If you're like me and the other guys on Team Radical, you've already got your stands in place. So coming out here and doing this is extremely important. I've came out here, I weed eated, I raked up all the leaves in my way, and I even sprayed it just to make sure that whatever I did come season, it was going to give me the best chance of getting in and out of my stand quietly and give me the best opportunity on my deer. So that's my quick tip, and I hope it helps you this season.
Here we are. We've had just a few pictures of him in 2014. 15, he's gone. 16, he's gone. 17, we've totally forgot about this deer. Hell, we've got thousands of pictures of other deer and other shooters and potential deer. Well, EHD breaks out, vanishes. Every deer in the country is dead. Don't know what happens to them. We don't know where they're at and carrying on. Well, pretty much canceled my season in 2017 with the EHD outbreak. Didn't have a deer on camera. From July 4th, hardly anything. Just a few does on a place that's usually loaded with deer. The following summer, 2018, started running trail cams. Brandon and I, we were setting up cams everywhere and a couple base stations, and especially one with my papaws. And that's a place where I always hunt at, and I've had a ton of history, and all these deer right here have came from that very farm. August 17th, 2018, Agent 7 shows up. Other than a few trail camera pictures and a sighting off the main highway bordering my property, that's all I had of him. 5 to 10 days later, Brandon sends me a video of him with his DSLR camera out of his truck. Well, he's maybe within 1,000 yards of my hunting area. Got him browsing, got him picking, got him looking at him and everything. Well, that right there led me to believe that he is really close and that he could be a deer that could be killed right off the bat. Well, here it is, Sorghum Festival weekend in Morgan County. It's the last weekend of September, and I take day off and take the weekend off from work. It's piss poured rain, so much that it's just flooded several low-lying areas around the riverbanks. I went to my grandfather's house and I got down there to the field, a great big open field, and there was no water in the field. I thought, well, that's great, I can hunt. Got the truck, there it is, sure enough. Walk down to the culvert that I have to cross. It's flooded, 4 or 5 foot of water. Cross it, get over here to a spot where I hunt at, and I ended up having to make a makeshift blind because it was way too deep for me to cross into my stand. So I get in the blind that evening, sitting there, filming a bunch of, wood ducks, beaver, all that kind of stuff, just cruising right by me. Creek's right here, and it's flooded right here. So I got wood ducks and beavers all around me. Well, I'm sitting there texting Brandon. He's wanting to know if I've seen anything. I said, well, I know I haven't seen nothing, Well, sure enough, just like that right there, I just hear a step in the water. Well, this whole entire thicket back here where I'm hunting at is flooded, apparently. I start hearing deer walking through the timber, flooded timber. I had hopes of the water going down. They were letting a lot of water out of the spillway to the lake. So I knew that there was a possibility of the river and the water levels being down in the field. Getting to stand about 3 o'clock, sitting there, having ozonics, everything's going right, wind direction, everything's just perfect for me. Well, sat there and sat there and sat there. Not a deer had shown up. It's getting to be about 6:30, 7 o'clock. Hear a limb snap over here to my right. Look out in the field, watching the trees. It's just a couple does. There's a group of 4 does that run together with a 6-point all summer long up until the time that day. They're running together. Take some footage of them. They're out there browsing through the field, carrying on.
Well, once again, I text Brandon, and he's wanting to know if I had seen anything. I said, no, man, I haven't seen nothing but these 4 does and that 6-pointer. Well, about that time, I got done texting him. I just kind of looked to my left, watched the creek line, just browsing, seeing what was going on, keeping a good eye out. I'm up there looking at these 4 does also, and that 6-point, and they just keep turning their head to the left, way up in the field to the left. If you're around a deer very much, you can see, you can tell what, if they pick up some kind of hearing or a noise or movement, those ears will go right to it. Well, they kind of beam over to the left of another creek crossing. I thought nothing of it. I thought it was just another evening of a dry spell. Well, I sat down, text Brandon, and said, man, I haven't seen nothing. I mean, it's dry as a bone here right now. Honestly, I get ready to bring my camera down, get ready to put my quiver up, put my arrow up. I sit down on my stand, just happened to look up, and here's Agent 7 coming at a straight line toward me.
Hey guys, this is Wes with Team Radical. I just punched a tag on an old Kentucky stud. He's at least 5 years old that I've got footage of him on cam. And I was about to give up this evening, and was actually going to sit down in my chair and just text old Phillips there. But hey, he's in the field, he's down. I watched him fall. He's over here. Made a killer shot on him. Oh man, I'm so pumped. But we'll get back with you. And he's an old deer. I had him on camera. This is 2014. Disappeared last year because of EHD. Came back this spring, and he just blew up to be an old gnarly 7-point. He didn't go 100 yards. Check that son of a gun out. Wow. So that's an old deer. Just old worn out deer. 2, 4, 6, 8. Now you want to count him. He's a 7-point in my opinion. A good deer. Very proud of him. I'll see what kind of shot we put on him. See here. Bad dude. Look here what that G5 dead meat does, folks. Quartering away from you. I'm talking laid him down. Yep, look here. Look here.
There's part of your arrow.
Yep. Perfect. Just how we like it. I'm pumped. Got some, appreciate it. Got some of my good buddies here, Brandon Phipps and Clay Civils. They came to help me recover the deer. All in all, man, it's been a good little season here in Kentucky. But I'm really looking forward to getting to Ohio, but I'm really proud of this deer. He's a good, solid, mature. That's the main thing, mature deer.
Serious land managers do everything they can to grow and harvest the biggest bucks possible. Maximizing herd health is part of any good management plan. Real World's exclusive Expect Healthy Deer technology is a true game changer. Developed by professional animal nutritionists working with captive deer breeders, Expect Healthy Deer technology can help your herd by enhancing the immune system, repelling insects, improving survival from disease outbreaks. This is going to lead to increased fawn production and antler growth on your property. To learn more, you can visit realworldwildlifeproducts.com.